Shabbat Shalom and Boker Tov. We continue this morning on page 187. For those in the house, of course, if you are following with the thick prayer books 187 or the thin ones, look for the bracketed numbers. For those who are joining us virtually, please refer to the PDF below our live stream link. We are so grateful that you have connected, and we hope for you a real feeling of connectedness. There is grace that every dawn renews, a loveliness making every morning fresh. We will endure. We will prevail. We, the children of Tikva, children of the One, who crowd the heavens with stars, endows the earth with glory, and fills the mind with wonder. On the facing page 186, Modeh, Modah, Modim Ani, full of gratitude for this new day, for this privilege of breath and soul. 188 at the bottom of the page. I turn my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from Hashekhinah, the creator, the maker of heaven and earth. How beautiful are these tents, O Jacob, this dwelling place, O Israel.
Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Israel. Vani berov chastecha avo v'techa eshtcha v'erecha kodshecha b'yiratecha. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti me'on beitacha u'mekom mishkan kivodacha v'ani eshtachavi ve'echracha avrecha lifnei Adonai osi נתתי לך אדוני את רצון אלוהים ברוב חסדך ונהי באמת אישך מה טובו אוהליך יעקב משכנותיך ישראל מה טובו אוהליך יעקב משכנותיך ישראל.
194. Planting your feet on the earth, holding your body erect. As we say each word, do a body scan of gratitude. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher yatzar et ha'adam bechokma uvaravo nikavim nikavim chalulim chalulim galui v'yadua lifnei chisei chivodecha she'im yipateach echad mehem או יסתם אחד מהם, אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך.
ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות.
196.
אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהורה היא. אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהורה היא. אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי. ברוך אתה אדוני אשר בידו נפש כל חי ורוח כל בשרי.
Amen. 198. Alexandra and I will guide you through Birkot HaShachar. Tasimu Lev, notice that we'll each go at our own pace, and we encourage you to go at your own pace, finding your rhythm, finding your gratitude, finding a sense of amazement as this morning unfolds. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sechri vina l'avchin bein yom uvein layla for awakening. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim for vision. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim for the ability to stretch. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim who lifts up the fallen. Amen. Page 200. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim for firm earth to stand upon. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver for the gift of motion. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten la'ya'ef koach for renewed enthusiasm for life. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir sheina me'einai utnuma me'afapai for reawakening 202. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani b'tselem Elohim for being in the image of the divine. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani bat chorin for being a free person. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani Yisrael for being a Jew. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ozer Yisrael b'gvura for purpose. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Oter Yisrael b'tifarah for harmony. 204. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah for the privilege and responsibility of engaging in Torah. Amen. 213. Hareini mizamen et piloto to lehalelu l'shabeach et bor'ihi. With this do I prepare myself to thank, praise, and glorify my Creator.
Baruch atah Adonai melech mehula b'tishbachot.
Amen. 214. A new song on this new year. A psalm, a song for Shabbat.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון בכינור מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך העליון ולזמר לשמך העליון כי שמחתני אדוני בפועלך במעשה ידיך הרנן וגדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך העליון ולזמר לשמך העליון ולזמר לשמך העליון העליון
218, Psalm 150, looking for, discovering, knowing the Hallel, the amazing, the praise, the sacred in every aspect of the universe.
Kocho, Hallelujah, Berkiahuzo, Hallelujah, Bigvurotav, Hallelujah, Kerov, good Lord, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Shofar, Hallelujah, ben nevel vechinor, Hallelujah, betofu machol, Hallelujah, b'minim ve'ugav, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Shama, Hallelujah, Betzitele Shua, Kol HaNeshama, Tehaleluya, Kol HaNeshama, Tehaleluya.
$225, you have my attention, which is a tenderness beyond what I might say, and I have your constancy to something beyond myself. The force of your commitment charges us. We live in the sweep of it, taking courage, one for the other. 224.
Yitgadol v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'agala Uvisman Kariv V'imru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam U'almei Omaya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei v'kudesha berichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran bi'alma v'imru Amen. 226. המבורך. לי 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 ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. לי 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 לי
The fall is the great reminder of when the seasons are changing right in front of our hearts. Notice as we pray 228, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yotzer or uvarei choshech Oseh shalom uvarei et hakol Hameir la'aretz v'ledarim aleha berachamim Uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom Tamid ma'aseh v'reshit Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai Kulam b'chochma asita Mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu Al shevach ma'aseh yadecha Ve'al me'orei or she'asita Yefa'arucha Selah.
Or Kadash, Al Zion Ta'ir, 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 V'nizke chulanu mehera le'oro, V'nizke chulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer ha'me'oro.
Amen. 230. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai HaShekhinah, gracing us with your surpassing compassion, on account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well, O merciful one. Have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah.
V'ha'erinu b'toratecha, v'dahabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha, v'yachet levaveinu le'ahava u'lir'a et shemecha, v'lo nevosh, v'lo nikaleb, v'lo nikashel, le'olam va'ed, ki b'shem kodshecha, hagadol v'hanora b'hatachnu, nagila v'nismecha, nagila v'nismecha, b'yeshuatecha. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to your land. For you, O source, work wonders. You choose us, truly you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you're one in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael, be'ahava. 232. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Ya Elai, Elai, Ya Elai, 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 Ya Elai, Elai, Ya Elai, Elai, Ya Elai, Elai. 234.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
236. Adonai said to Moses as follows, speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves tzitzit on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your tzitzit. Look at it and recall all the commandments of the source and observe them so that you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful urge. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. 239. Emet, there is no place where you are not, even in the wilderness there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stirs the soul's passion. Guide our sacred ways, true and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Miriam, Moshe, and all B'nai Yisrael, we sing out and rejoice. 240.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. שירה חדשה, שיבחו גאולים לשמך, על שפת הים. יחד כולם הודו והמלכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ובדכנו מכה יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. 242.
תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. La 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Emoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'konei Hakol V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot U'mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah.
246 this Shabbat and next Shabbat we still get to say Morid Hatal. After next Shabbat comes Simchas Torah and then we switch to winter.
Ata gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei hakol hatarav lehoshia Morid hatal Mechalkel chayim bechesed Mechayei metim berachamim rabim Somech noflim verofeh cholim Umatir asurim Umkayei emunato Lishenei afar Michamocha bagivurot Umido melach Melech memit umechayei Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman ata l'chayot hametim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hametim. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה לזה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. Hallelujah.
From generation to generation.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. לדור ודור נגיד לך, לדור ודור we protect this chain, from generation to generation. Lador vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. Lador vador nagi golecha. Lador vador, we protect this chain, from generation to generation. Lador vador, these lips will praise your name. Lador vador nagi golecha. Lador vador, we protect this chain, from generation to generation. Lador vador, these lips will praise your name.
250, those who keep Shabbat By calling it a delight, we'll rejoice in you.
ישבחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקדשי מקדשי שביעי שבת, כולם ישבעו ויקדשו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשו שבת. חמדת ימין אותו קראת השבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. לי 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 לי
Each of us continuing our Amidah B'Lachash through page 260.
Imre fi v'hagion livi lifanecha Adonai tzuri v'goli Adonai tzuri v'goli Ose shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'himeru amen. Ose shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'himeru amen. Ose shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'himeru amen. Ose shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'himeru amen.
362.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kema'asecha malchutecha malchut ol olamim umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam v'ad Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom.
364.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Ki mitzion tetzei Torah U'davar Adonai meYerushalayim. 366. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato. We pray responsively. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Kadosh Shmo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu l'Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanehitzach v'hahod ki chol bashamayim uvaretz ki chol bashamayim uvaretz Lecha Adonai hamlacha v'hamid nahaseh lecho nerosh al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
Please be seated. So today we are praying Ha'azinu, Genesis 32, verse 1. And I'm just getting used to you guys being here, so I did not look up the page in your Chumash. So when you find it, you can shout it out to me. And we'll make sure everyone's on the same page. Ha'azinu, Deuteronomy 32, verse 1. (208). And we have our Gabbai back, Ellen Leifer.
Our first reader will be Marty Miller. I'll call him for the honor. Nala Amod, Mordechai, Dov, Beit HaMishpacha,
Mi Beit.
Zahavia, Vegela, Ha'aliyah HaRishona.
Baruchu et Adonai hamafarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamafarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher b'chabonu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. Ha'azinu hashamayim ve'adabera ve'kishma ha'aretz imreithi ya'aroh kamatar likhi tizal katal imrati Kisirim ale desha, Yishirvavim ale Esef, Ki Shem Adonai Ekra, Abu Godel Lalohenu, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, Asher natan lanu Torat Emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Our second reader today will be Debbie Beck, chanting verses 6
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorak. Baruch Adonai Hamvorak Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Hatzur tamim pa'alo ki kol drakav mishpat el muna ve'en avel Sadiq vayashar hu shechet lo panav mum dor ikesh uftal tol ha ladonai tigmalu zot am na'aval velo kakam halo hu avicha kanecha hu aska vikonecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayei olam natan b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
With the Torah open, we say a prayer for healing for all those members of the community and your loved ones who are in need of healing. Mishaberach avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachav, Leah. Vivarech et acholim, Yisrael Aga, David Anderson, Amanda Batista, Susan Bosch, Susan Becker, Jenny Bryant, Tom Burrows, Amelia Byers, Audrey Cohn, Barbara Cohn, Robert Cook, Adele Corvin, Tyler Corvin, Luz Costella, Yehuda Ben Leah, Chaim Ellen Futterman, John Gowdy, Joy Gross, Ron Hall, Anna Hernandez, Darren Jacobs, Judy Jacobs, Lee Kalish, Seth Kerr, Susan Klamberg, Andrea Klein, Mary Jane Klein, Luke Klein, Jack Levy, Jeff Lukash, Lana Ogram, Leah Levine Olaya, Reverend Michelle Meach, Marty Miller, Joe Michaels, Moshe Yosef, Stephanie Payusko, Carla Friedman, Ellie Idovitz, Tony Rosenstein, Robin Stone, Elaine Trott, Ellen Vogeloff, George Wells, Ben Wilder, Phyllis Woolfield, Jeffrey Zelkovitz, Gretchen Zimmerman, continued healing and strength for Sandy Albelli, Todd Albelli, Tommy Anderson, Bonnie Emantro, Jan Bennett, Pat Prack, Menjo Callie, Michael Corvin, Stephen Fine, Charles Fitzsimmons, Barbara Gallagher, Francine Glasser, Mark Greenberg, Marcia Hamburg, Valerie Henderson, George Jones, Danny Joseph, Anita Cantor, Heather Kiteja, Levy Corley, Charlie Littman, Nomi Laurie, David Mallon, Joan Moore, Ann Murkoff, Catherine Nicholson, Nevaeh Newsy, Orly Batzvia Vachaya, Steve Perlmutter, Antoinette Phelan, Lillian Rich Schuster, Dave Rosenthal, Evie Rosenthal, Kyle Rothke, Barbara Salberg, Henry Sanderson, Shirley Schneider, Deborah Sears, Phil Searles, Sean Sloan Shortley, Michelle Simon, Charles Slutsky, Mark Trott, Sandy Weiner, Karen Wilder, Luca Williams, the Livingston House staff and residents, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim, Aleihem Lachlimamu L'Rafotam Lachlikam, Claude Schloiter, Vaishlach Lehem Meira, Refuah Shlema, Mina Shamayim, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, Hashtei Bagalav Isman Kariv, V'nomar, Amen.
For the third and final Aliyah, Susan Hirsch will be reading verses 7 through 9. Na'amod Mira, Mibeit Hosea Barachel, Aliyah HaShlishit.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Zechor
Amen.
yimod olam. Binu shenot dor vador. She'el aveka v'yagecha v'kanecha v'yomer lach. V'hanhel elyon goyim v'hafrido b'nei Adam. Yaseh givulot amim lamispar b'nei Yisrael. Ki halech Adonai yamo
Amo.
Yaakov havel nahalato. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet b'hayei olam natan b'tikenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
To lift the Torah today, Rabbi Romer will be lifting, and Marilyn will be rapping. Nala Amod.
Hagvav Galila. When I lift today, I'm going to ask you to look really carefully at the passage. I can only, because it's so heavy, I can only really open it so you see just the beginnings of 3. But notice the top and the 2 pillars, and then on the latter side there are 2 pillars and a bottom, the inverse image. So please notice clearly. Asher Samoshe. Ellen, stay close. Pi Adonai Beyad Moshe. Sorry. Put your hands up. Put your hands up on top. Up on top. Thank you. Hatziva Anu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah. Sorry. Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe. Torah, Torah. No, don't let go, don't let go, don't let go. Don't let go yet, please. Wait till I turn it around, please. Okay. Okay, now you can go. Torah. Lanu Moshe ki mitzion tetzei Torah. Adonai Yerushalayim. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai. Thank you. Lie, la, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Yeah, la, 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 lie. Only one. Perfect. That's it. Yeah, lie, la, la, lie. Yeah, yesher kochech. Lie, lie. Lie, lie, lie. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la la. Shabbat Shalom. So an opportunity to study. I know I did not lift well. I seem to be losing my upper body strength. I have to work harder at that. What did you notice when I lifted the Torah? Were you able to see it? Not so strong. you saw two big pillars all the way down. And at the top, there was like a roof, like a sukkah. Okay? And then that was one page. On the next page, the pillars continued, and at the bottom there was a foundation. So that's what it actually looks like in the Sefer Torah. Again, a big block like a roof, two pillars going all the way down. Those pillars continued on the next daf. And at the very bottom, there was a big block. So you really have this bayit with a foundation and with a top, okay? And it's very important, like I have the privilege of seeing it. I was going to call you up, but we're trying so hard to be really mindful of keeping our distance. So I'm not calling you up. But I want you to really see what I saw as our wonderful readers, Yesher Kochechem, to each of you, as they read. And then, if that was the roof, and this was the foundation, what's in the middle? What are those pillars in the middle? Take a look. Actually, let me tell you what to do. Go back to the last verse of last week's portion. Instead of, we're beginning at 32:1, go back to 32:30. I wanted to show this to you anyway. I'm sorry, 31:30. Go back to 31:30. Page 1390, and can you read out loud for me what you see there in 31:30? Okay, that's a very interesting, good. Okay, and Moses recited the words et divrei, and in Hebrew the word is hashira, which is, it can be poem, Ellen, which is what your translation says, but I like my translation better, hashira, of this song. But we'll take poem too, because it can be either one. This song or this poem. So again, we have a big block like a roof on top, and we have a foundation below. In the middle, these two pillars is either, according to my translation, a song, Hashira Hazot, or accurate, this poem. Why are these words, and now you can go back to our portion, Ha'azinu 32:1, why is this portion in the form of a shira, a song, or a poem? Any thoughts? Marilyn? It's very special, beautiful. More. Someone you want us to pay attention to? Did you guys heard when I asked Alex to do that Lador Vador from generation to generation, right? And boy, it felt very special, didn't it? And I want her to do it every week. She says to me, because she's so smart, I need to save it for special times. And I'm like, well, every Shabbat is special. But she's going to push back at me and keep it for special times. But you're right. You pay attention, and when you hear that, you're saying to yourself, ah, this is so special. Like, I'm so glad I came, says Karen, so I could hear Alexandra sing that incredible piece, right? And my husband Michael told me that it's not the same when you watch at home. When you come in and you hear the voices, it lifts you differently, right? So thank you, Marilyn. I know it's special when I hear that song, Hashira Hazot, and I pay attention more.
Sing together?
So that you can all be singing together, absolutely. More.
Dance?
Sure, I'll buy it. I'll take it. I'll take it. When we have song, it makes us move. It makes us, goes us into action, right? Like, have you ever seen chants that people do on the football field or the soccer field? It gets you motivated. You know, I think about the fact that a song is how we communicate and remember. A poem is how we communicate and remember. When we wanted to learn the ABCs, we learn it in song. No one sits down and goes, say, A, B, C, D. No, we go, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that's how we remember, right? Aleph, bet, vet, Aleph, bet, vet. In Hebrew, when we're teaching our children about right and wrong, we have this song that goes, Al taseh ze lo yafeh, ten li yad ve'od echad. Don't do that. That's not nice. But we sing it in this really pretty song. Al taseh ze lo yafeh, ten li yad ve'od echad. We sing songs and say poetry, poems, to remember. Throughout the service today, I was highlighting, and Alexandra was highlighting, special pieces that I want to connect for you to this parasha. This is a song that happens at the end of the Torah. We only have one more portion left, which we can study this week in our Tuesday morning, but next Saturday, it's going to be Chol HaMoed Sukkot. So we'll have a special reading. So really, this is the last time we're going to study this portion, and we'll read the end of the Torah and Simchas Torah and begin the new Torah again. You know we're at the end. Another spoiler alert. At the end of today, I'm going to talk about Moses' death. But imagine this, the way I described it, the visual. It's got a roof, it's got a foundation, and it's got two pillars. And now this emotional piece, we want it to be remembered, says Marilyn. We want it to be special, says Marilyn. We want it to be everybody. So when we want to sing about Israel, we sing Hatikva, Kol Od Balevav, and we can all do it together. And it moves us into action. That's what's happening with this Hashira Hazot, this song or this poem. So I hope that you're holding that. And now let's go a little deeper into it. Ha'azinu hashamayim va'adabra v'tishma ha'aretz imrei fi. Marty, we know you're watching. We're so grateful for your beautiful reading of this. Cause your ear to listen, O heavens, and I will speak. And may the earth hear the words of my mouth. Here we have heaven and earth who are coming to be Edim, witnesses for this message. Now this is intense. Alexandra already told us that this is for everybody, and I'm going to ask you to jump for a minute so that I can make a point to you who this everybody is. Hold on, let me just find it. 7. Okay, go to the end of 10. Ki chelek Adonai amo, because your place or your portion is with God. God's portion is with the source's people. Yaakov chevel nachalato. And what you hear here is Jacob's chevel is his nachalato, is his inheritance. Jacob's chevel is his inheritance. And what do you have there in 9 for your translation? Jacob's chevel is his inheritance. What's your English? portion, allotment. I have measure. What is a chevel? Anybody? A chevel is a rope. A rope. And now it's very interesting historically. If you had a portion, like a lot, it would be measured by a rope, right? Like a yardstick. But there's more meaning here. Think about a rope and how it has all these strands in it that are woven together. Reminds you a little bit of a Havdalah candle, but even more because it's so strong. It's not just symbolically woven. The rope becomes so strong because each one of the strands that are woven together become this chevel, or your measure, or your allotment. Listen to this. You matter, you matter, you matter, you matter, you matter. We all have a role here. What would we do without you, Dave? What would we do without you, Ellen, and Marilyn, and Karen, and Kara? Kara, please.
I just wanted to share something from the religious school. We want to spend as much time outside as possible, but we wanted to make it easier for the kids to do it safely. So we have a rope for each class where there's a spot where the kids can put their hands on so they know that they're not too close to their friends and they can be safe outside.
And they're all bound together.
We're all bound together, and together we form this larger, we don't have the same rope, we come together this larger circle of different ages and different groups, and we're all kind of joined together.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So here, what we're learning in this song, which is actually a tough song. It's not a pretty song. It's a tough song because there's a lot of hard stuff that we're warned is going to happen to us. And we'll go to that in a minute. I'm saying some of the nice stuff first. But it's so interesting that it's done in a song form, so we pay attention, so it feels special. So we're all together, we're bound, our future is bound together. Our portion is how we're bound together. I'm gonna take a sidestep for a moment and just speak honestly. You know, this week I dealt with another person who came to me who's not vaccinated. And, you know, the discussion that we had was that what is your responsibility to the other people? And the person said to me, well, I am a loner. I don't want to be with anyone. I'm staying distant from everyone. And I said, until you're not. Until you come to me because you need something. Until you 222. Until you're sick and you go to the hospital. I won't go to the hospital. Wait a minute. What you're, 222, the person should not get sick. But if you get sick with COVID and you don't go to the hospital, it could be fatal for you. There's this very bizarre thing that we are really, our heightened awareness, that we've forgotten our responsibility to one another. And that's what we're doing here, my friends. It doesn't mean you're going to like everything that I say, or I'm going to like everything that you say, or that you do, or that you say, or that you do. We're going to have differences of opinion, but we, gosh darn it, are bound together. That's how we're stronger. That's how we protect one another. It's not enough that you come to me when you need something. It's how are we bound together through the good times and the challenging times. So this song is that reminder. You are bound together. And not just that you're bound together, but you are bound together, and the witnesses are heaven and earth. So what's your take on heaven and earth being the witness? What does that mean to you? How do you make sense of that? Dave? So I'm repeating your words for the people who are virtual. It encompasses everything, says Dave, and it also connects us to Genesis, that in the very, very beginning of creation, the source of creation divides the heaven and the earth. It encompasses everything. Karen, I saw your hand up. Oh, okay. Yisrael, I saw your hand up. No? Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Wait, let me say this for the people that are virtual. Yisrael just remembered and reminded us that heaven and earth echo what I described to you in the way that the portion is laid out, the top and the bottom. So that it's a sense of protection, and that's very beautiful, and that we are very grounded when we're asleep and when we're awake, and we're also protected. That's going to be a really interesting piece that what's going to be forged here. So I'm going to take what Yisrael said and move us to this idea that this song, this portion, and what I spoke about last night is the reminder that your inheritance is not only one another, but it is divine protection. It is how you walk with the sacred. And again, in order to understand how we are bound together, one has to understand that there's a shift in the dialectic. It's not, how do I get richer and fatter, and I'm going to show you this portion in a minute, and more powerful, but rather, how do I walk with a sense of the sacred, that being the divine, that which we remember not just through deep psychology, but through the very essence of creation at the end. And that's why, and this is so beautiful that we read this before Monday night when we're going to go build our sukkah. You see the sukkah in the week's portion, right? There it is. And of course we bring song into the sukkah. This idea of all of this is, what is it that you're going to give the next generation? What is it that you pass on to the next generation? And I just want to, I'm going to bring in something. I heard an interview with Anderson Cooper, who's actually Gloria Vanderbilt's son. The Vanderbilt family, they were nouveau riche. Cornelius Vanderbilt made, in his day, $100,000, which was like $1 billion. And his family then, in a few short years, doubled that, tripled that. They made mega wealth, and then they lost and they spent mega wealth. And he wrote a book for his son Wyatt that's called The Rise and the Fall of an American Family. And it's interesting because he has always distanced himself from the family, because it's not how he identified. He didn't feel, and this is his words, that any good could come of it. But what was missing there was any sense of responsibility for the other, any sense of being bound to something bigger. The family, the Vanderbilt family, wanted to walk in lockstep with rich people. That was their goal. I'm going to, for 1 minute, and then I'm going to go to Kara. Here's a piece that I need to introduce to you, to talk to you about. and I'm going to jump you back and forth a little bit, but if you would, okay, I just lost my, yep, 32:15, 32:15, and what do you see here? Vayishman Yisharun Vayiv'at. Jeshurun Vayishman got fat and kicked. Jeshurun got fat, he became fat, and he kicked. Why did I jump you to this? Jeshurun is us, you guys. We're Jeshurun. Yeshurun is another one of the names for our people, for Bnei Yisrael. Yeshurun. What does this mean? Yeshurun got fat and kicked. Well, let's break it apart. What does getting fat mean? Expanding, I need more, Kara. It doesn't encompass it fully. Yeah, overindulging, there we go. Expanding, indulging, overindulging. Yeshurun became so stuffed, so overindulged, so contemptuously consumed and kicked, became contemptuous. Sforno says that, well, all the rabbis talk about the fact that it was all about the material accessing more and more and more and more and more. And then Sforno describes that getting so comfortable that it became contemptuous. You know, we have a phrase in English, familiarity breeds contempt, right? That you get so comfortable with your indulgence that you become contemptuous. I've said many times over the years, I've challenged the teenagers especially, how is it that people who have less can be so much more generous? What happens in our world that the more you have, the less generous you are? There's something just crazy about that. And here in our song, there's this great reminder. Here we are on Yom Kippur, after Yom Kippur, about to go out and live for 8 days in a temporary shelter for the purpose of remembering the earth that you stand on, the heavens above, your connection to one another. As I said last night, Kara, audacious hospitality, and our connection to our people or to what matters to you. There is an inherent warning here. It's not against things. It's against the overindulgence from which one loses sight of values, loses sight of why we're here. So this is what this song is about. Now there are several pieces in here that I want to point. Oh no, Kara first. Kara, I'm sorry. You wanted to bring up a point? I went past it already. Are you sure? I'd love to hear. Beautiful. So we each are born with a genetic disposition, Kara's saying. I'm repeating, I know you're saying it better than me. But what our social world, or the way that we live or raised or live each day, will actually have a role in determining what gets expressed, what gets developed, what gets cultivated. There is a genetic disposition, and Kara's point is the notion of the divine is how we guide ourselves to elevate the highest values, to bring out the best in us. It's not said as eloquently as Kara. Did I get more or less? Yeah? So So with that divine presence, we are left with the responsibility of making choice, and how we balance who we are with mindfulness of the divine will play a large role in our journey. I'm doing my best here. I think we have to think about how maybe getting a mic somewhere in the middle so that everyone can be heard without me repeating. That's fantastic. Let's look, I'm going to jump to 32:4 for you. I think you want to see this based on what Kara just said. This is the introduction of the name I've been using more this year. Hatzor, Hatzor, Tamim Pa'alo. I know sometimes I use names and I think people are like, where is she getting this from? Well, here, I'm getting it from here. Hatzor. And I love using this name, and I think, I don't plan which name I'm going to use. I sort of sit with poor Alexandra. She never knows what I'm going to do. I sit with how I'm feeling at the moment. For a Hebrew speaker, Tzor is this giant, immovable, enormous boulder, right? Hatzor. And I think to myself, that's when I need to feel grounded. Hatzor. Tamim Pa'alo. The source is a boulder, a rock, immovable. Tamim, perfect in all of Hatzor's actions. And it's very steadfast, it's very promising. The other thing I wanted to show you, which you may not have been so aware of, but if you look at 32:6, we have the word Ha Ladonai. This is quite beautiful. The Hey in every Torah text is enlarged. Ha Ladonai, and it stands apart. Ha Ladonai. We don't normally need to say that, because if you say Ladonai, you're saying to the source. Ha Ladonai, the to the source, is like a double positive, something like that. I'm making this word up. Ha is the definitive article, the clarity that there is the one source. Ha Ladonai. And later in this song, there'll be a nizifa. There'll be a reprimand to us for making gods. I'm not turning you to the place. For making gods of our own comfort, gods of the things that we pretend are important, versus Ha Ladonai, there is the one source. And if you put that together with what Kara introduced to us, if we could keep our intention on the one source and then take responsibility for our choices. I don't know about you, but I have noticed from Yom Kippur, in the few hours, I've been faced with a couple of moments of decisions. And And I notice how mindful I feel at this point. I almost did something, and I said, wait, I don't need to do that. And I switched back. Second thing happened, same thing. That's what Kara's talking about. It's this sense of being so clear and so mindful that it leads me to these other actions. Everything from the source, and I just wanted to talk about this. If you go back up to 32:2, Ya'arov kamatar likri tizal ketal imarti. And in 32:2, may my teachings likri drop like rain, and may my utterances tizal flow or drip like dew. So this is very beautiful. Let's start with the dew, because that's easier. Tal. Tizol, it's very gentle. It's very constant. It's always striking to me when it's a beautiful summer day and a beautiful summer night, and I get up in the morning and I go sit on my deck and the chairs are wet. I'm like, what? And it's such a reminder. There was no upset, there was no storm, there was no rain. It's just this constant presence that refreshes, that waters, that cares for the earth. And it never inconveniences, it just sustains. That's the divine word. But let's go to my teachings. Ya'arov kematar likri. And may my teachings drop down like rain. Well, this is interesting, because rain is not as subtle as the dew, right? Rain is, we're very aware, like it rains and then people stay home instead of coming. It rains and we can't be outside even if we can be outside, right? It rains and you feel it. You know it. But let me just be clear. I heard on the news that it's raining out west, right? Thank the source. Thank the source. Boy, they need it. It's so serious to put out some of these fires. But even in our safe little Hudson Valley, when it rains, we feel it. And then we're told, my teaching, likri. And this is actually my favorite word of the whole portion. Remember what I always tell you about this, because we do it with Eitz Chaim Hi? Ki lekach tov. Behold, it is a lekach, a teaching that is tov, that is good. Lekach, likri, teaching. But the root, lamed kuf chet, means take. And I tell you this because it doesn't matter how good the teaching is. There's the teaching. If you don't take it. And this goes back to what Kara said. What are you going to choose? The teaching is there, but the teaching itself does not transform us. It's when we take the teaching. It's when you look at one of your grandchildren and you're like, they got it, right? They got it. Oh my gosh, they feel it. They know what Shabbat is. She's got it in her soul. The teaching was taken. As a teacher, Kara can say many words, but then she sees one of her students and they have taken it and they understand it and they live it. That's the transformation. And that is big and important and life-changing. So I want to turn for today, and I want to look at the end of the portion, okay? And we have a phrase that's heard again. I want you to go to 32:44. Moses came and spoke all of these words in this song, Be'oznei ha'am, in the ears of the people. Be'ozne. This is my second favorite thing. Because I actually imagine Moses right here in my ear, telling it to me. And this is so important because it becomes so personal. And I can tell you, because I know she's a good teacher, that's what Carol wants for each of her students, that they feel that this teaching is personal for them. This is not somebody else's teaching. That's why, that's what we get on Passover. Avadim hayinu. We were slaves. This is my teaching. Moses spoke it into my ears. There's something entirely, profoundly personal and intimate that has to happen for this to be understood. He and Hoshea ben Nun. What do you notice with that name? Moses and Hoshea ben Nun. Hoshea ben Nun. What's missing for Joshua? His Yud, Yehoshua. The Yud that he just got from Moses a couple of portions ago. He just got his Yud. He was Hoshea. Then Moses identified him as the leader that's going to take the people into the promised land. And in doing so, he becomes Yehoshua. And here, he spoke the words into the ears of the people, he and Hoshea ben Nun. Why is the Yud missing here? That's the question the rabbis ask. This is not easy. What do you think? Why is the Yud missing here?
To bring him down, to be on the same level as the people.
Beautiful. To bring him down, I'm going to just say the first, to bring him down. Now Alex goes further and says to be on the same level of the people. Maybe more accessible, more informal, but I'm going to stay with this for a minute. I'm going to bring Rashi to bring him down to a sense of, oh, interesting. No, that's great. Not to lose that. And it's very, very funny. My husband was asking me this the other day. In professional schools, you generally get broken down and then built back up. And Kara doesn't like when I said this, but like in medical school, they first crush you and then they build you back up. In rabbinical school, you all go to Israel for a year. And they sort of rebuild your identity. It's upsetting because you actually feel infantilized a little bit. But then you also realize that you, in your very essence, weave this new identity. Listen, Yom Kippur. We break down and build back up a new soul. Certainly, here, remember who you were. This is the positive spin on it, says Kara. Keep that childlike innocence and clarity, and that's beautiful. Rashi says for modesty, which I think is really beautiful. Or HaChaim says when you're in the presence of Moses, and this is going to lead me to my point, and Ibn Ezra says that his name gets shifted here because we're about to ready ourselves for Moses to die, and then Joshua will take over. But in this passing of the buck, there's a deference. There's a recognition of Moses' role, of Moses' place. I would actually call this a healthy transition. right? How do you honor what was before you and then take your place as a leader? All of these are wonderful answers. And then in 48, the source spoke to Moses on that very day. Hayom hazeh lemor, saying, ascend, aleh, to this mount of Abiram, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, which is before Jericho, and see the land of Canaan that I give to the children of Israel as an inheritance. We know that we can only inherit it if we're bound together like a chevel. And die on the mountain where you will ascend and be gathered to your people, as Aaron your brother died on Mount Hor and was gathered to his people. Here we have, and I'll go one more verse, but here we have the premonition of the death of Moses, which will of course happen in the next portion, and Moses ascends. But we have the explanation, because you trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the waters of Meribat Kadesh in the wilderness of Ziv. And this is so interesting because it brings me back to the song itself. This is a cautionary tale. This is a time of figuring out, how do we choose to go forward? Who do we choose to be? What is going to be our role in our behaviors to get us to where we need to be? And last night I called this period of time not an ending, but a journey. And here, Moses doesn't get to go into the promised land, but perhaps we do. And we are faced with not an easy, a pretty challenging, look, if you get it wrong, if you just get so comfortable in your indulgence, indulging in bad habits, indulging in material things that hold you instead of the thing that really lifts you and supports you and shelters you, Israel, right? The choice is before us, the blessing and the curse. And we are asked to choose the blessing. We are asked to choose life. And more specifically, to choose the divine, to choose a sacred journey, a sacred path. That is no small deal. 374, we stand together. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizkav shemo levado.
Chodo al haaretz v'shamayim,
Vayaharem keren le'amo, tehila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ki lekach tov natati lachem. Behold, it is a taking, a teaching that is good that I have given you. Torati al ta'azovu.
Eitz chaim hi l'machazikim ba v'tomchecha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Eleinu.
hope you're feeling the connections there of these moments of return. We are right there, right now, during these days of awe. Sunday morning at 10 a.m. on the front lawn, Brotherhood and the confirmation class will be building our sukkah. This is a very wonderful mitzvah, and unfortunately, I'm not able to be there on Sunday because after a year and a half, they decided that Bar is going to actually have a graduation from Cornell. So we're tomorrow morning driving up, going to watch her graduate, and then we'll drive back Sunday night so we can be ready for Sukkot. But anyone who can be here to help, that will be wonderful. The Zimmit Religious School Learning Adventure begins on Sunday at 10 a.m. Jonathan asked me if anybody here can stay for a few minutes after services and act like a child. He wanted his teachers to be able to help direct us to our classes. And if you can spare a few minutes, we should greet each other over there so that we could be talking, because that's what the kids will be doing, and acting like kids. He would appreciate it if any of us can do that for just a few minutes. Sunday afternoon, the family picnic and softball game starting at 1 p.m. in Woodstock. Please RSVP to Brotherhood. As you know, I won't be there for that, or for the Zimmit Religious School, or for the building of the sukkah, but I do expect our CEHV team to win. So if you can go play, that'll be great. Erev Sukkot. Alexandra and I will be conducting a Zoom sukkah from my home sukkah, and you'll all be able to see one another. We are asking everyone to get the link from your emails and from the website, and sit in your dining room, on your deck, in your sukkah, or on your lawn if you don't have a sukkah, under a tree. And we will bring in Sukkot together at 6 p.m. The following morning, Tuesday, September 21st, in our sukkah that will be built on the front lawn at 10 a.m. We are eager for a minyan, so everyone who can be there, please, we'd love to celebrate with you. We're back to our regular classes. Hebrew Trope, Conversational Hebrew, resumes on Wednesday. Next Friday, Yizkor, will be at 7 p.m. for Sukkot, Kabbalat Shabbat at 7:30, and Tuesday, September 28th, in person, Tat Shabbat begins at 5:30, and Simchas Torah and Hakafot at 6, outdoors, weather permitting. Help feed your neighbors at the Blue Fridge. Look for details on the brown paper bags in the lobby and also on our website. And the Sisterhood is guiding us in a backpack project for children in our community who need backpacks for school, and that we can provide them for them. Turning together in our Siddur to page 598, it is during this season, Zman Simchatenu, the time of joy, that our hearts are very much filled with the love we have for relatives who gave us our life and sustained us with values and with love, who are woven into our memory. So too do we stand with members in our community who sustained a loss in their recent Shiv'ah or Shloshim or Shana. We are with you. And we weave together the yard sites of Flora Bernstein, David Dubin, Louis Dubasar, Paula Markowicz's father, Louis Dworkin, Maureen Missner's grandfather, Shirley Fletcher, Jody and Linda Sumbers, loved one, Nathan Cantor, Anita Cantor's father, Cindy Lepak, remembered by Ashley Lepak, Carl Levy, Gail Levy's father-in-law, Rose Mazur, Phyllis Wolfield's mother, Macy Mell, Sandy Mell's husband, Alfred Perilous, Rima Liscombe's father, Lillian Teddy Solomon, remembered by Judith Golub, and Hyman Wachtel, Pauline Simon's brother. Please, Zichronam Livracha, please rise. Standing for the martyrs of our people and the people of every race and nation who live their lives as a blessing to humanity, we say, Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol b'nei Adam, v'imru amen. We are like David of Goliath. We are small, but learning to be mighty as we do our closing song today. So my soul may sing. You will notice that the words will be up on the screens behind us. We are trying to continue to evolve. It's going to take us some time because we are so dependent on so many wonderful volunteers. But we hope to stop using insert sheets so that you can all be part of it. And so my soul may sing. We are welcoming this prayer now.
What we hope, what we dream, our dearest prayers can't be broken. What we deny, what we discard, our deepest fears can't be spoken, but our love and our joy with our hearts can be woken to you, to you, to you. Leman yizamer hakavod velo yidom. Leman yizamer hakavod velo yidom. Adonai Elohai leolam hodecha. Let your love and your joy from your heart be my emotion, so my soul and my voice will rise up to be spoken to you, to you, to you. Leman yizamer hakavod velo yidom. Leman yizamer hakavod velo yidom. Adonai Elohai leolam hodecha. So the weight of these wrongs that I've done won't define me, while the pain of these things that I recall won't confine me. While the weight of these wrongs that I've done won't confine me, while the pain of these sins that I recall won't confine me. Leman יזמר הכבוד ולא ידום. למען יזמר הכבוד ולא ידום. אדוני אלוהי לעולם עודך. What we hope, what we dream, our dearest prayers can't be broken.
A song to be sung for the season.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you to our usher today, and thank you to Barry, who is keeping us on track, and of course to Alexandra's wonderful presence and spirit and inspirational place in our community. And to you for showing up in person and virtually. Anybody who can pretend to be a child for a few moments, come with me to the back room. We will let them herd us into the places we are supposed to go. Decide how old you are, and they'll tell you where you need to go. Shabbat Shalom.